Ever wondered why some agricultural terms sound intimidating but are actually pretty straightforward? That's what we're cracking open today. I'm excited to kick off this episode with you.
Honestly, so many students, whether they're in undergrad, grad school, or deep into their PhD, struggle with the vocabulary. I'm here to help break it all down. We'll cover core concepts, practical differences, and some common confusion points.
Perfect. By the end of this episode, listeners will be comfortable with must-know agricultural terminology. We'll map out the basics, highlight advanced terms, and share tips for remembering definitions. Plus, we'll throw in real-world examples so these words stick.
Let's get started with a look at fundamental terms. Then, we'll move into applied terminology, discuss misunderstood concepts, and top it all off with ways to use these terms confidently.
So, kicking things off, what are the absolute basics every ag student should know? Words like crop, soil, and irrigation come to mind, but what do they really mean in context?
Great starting point. Crop refers to cultivated plants grown for food or profit. Think wheat, rice, maize. Soil is more than just dirt. It's the medium that anchors plants and supplies nutrients. And irrigation? That's the process of supplying water to support plant growth, especially where rainfall isn't enough.
I love that you mentioned soil. Students often think it's just a passive base, but it's dynamic. There's so much happening beneath our feet, from microorganisms to nutrient cycles.
Exactly, and that brings us to another essential term, fertilizer. Fertilizers are added to soil to boost nutrient content, helping plants grow stronger and faster. It's a term students use from day one, but the specifics can get lost.
Once you've got those basics, the next challenge is understanding applied terms. For example, agronomy and horticulture. They sound similar, but what sets them apart?
Agronomy deals with field crops, grains, pulses, oilseeds. Horticulture, on the other hand, covers fruits, vegetables, ornamentals, and sometimes medicinal plants. The distinction matters because research, techniques, and even tools can differ between these branches.
That actually reminds me, students often hear pesticide and herbicide used interchangeably, but pesticides target all pests, while herbicides specifically target weeds. Mixing those up can really change how you approach a problem in the field.
And let's not forget yield. It's the measure of how much crop is produced in a given area, critical for evaluating success, especially in research projects or commercial operations.
Moving up a level, what about the advanced terminology? Words like genotype, phenotype, and transgenic. These can trip up MSc and PhD students.
Absolutely. Genotype refers to the genetic makeup of a plant, while phenotype is what you actually see how those genes express themselves in the real world. Transgenic plants contain genes from other species, often used to boost traits like pest resistance or drought tolerance.
And then there's precision agriculture, using technology like GPS and drones to optimize planting, irrigation, and harvesting. It's transforming how we manage resources and increase efficiency.
Funny you mentioned drones. The term remote sensing is becoming mainstream too. It involves gathering data from satellites or sensors to monitor crop health, moisture levels, and even predict yields.
Many students get tangled up in similar-sounding terms. For instance, organic farming versus conventional farming. What's the core difference?
Organic farming avoids synthetic chemicals, relying on natural fertilizers and pest control. Conventional farming uses synthetic fertilizers and pesticides for faster results. Both have pros and cons, but knowing the distinction can help in making research or career decisions.
Then there's monoculture versus polyculture. One is growing a single crop in a field, while the other means multiple crops are grown together. The choice affects everything from biodiversity to pest management.
After 2 iterations, we finally get students to see these distinctions aren't just vocabulary, they're strategies that impact productivity, sustainability, and even economics.
Before we wrap up, how can students actually remember and use these terms effectively? I know flashcards help, but what else works?
I've found that connecting terms to real-world scenarios makes them stick. For example, seeing irrigation in action or conducting a soil test in the lab brings the definition to life. Group study and teaching others also reinforce your understanding.
That's a great point. I also suggest making diagrams, visualizing processes like nutrient cycles or plant genetics. It turns abstract terms into something tangible.
And don't hesitate to ask questions. If a term feels confusing, dig deeper. The more you interact with the vocabulary, the more second nature it becomes.
Let's wrap up today's episode. 3 key takeaways. First, agricultural terms range from the foundational to the advanced, and it's useful to know both. Second, applied terminology helps bridge theory to practice. Third, understanding differences like organic versus conventional farming prevents confusion.
If you want to master these terms, start by connecting them to real-life examples and practice using them daily. That's the best way to lock them in.
Thanks for joining us. Next time you hear these words, you'll know exactly what they mean and how to use them. That's a real win for any BSc, MSc, or PhD student.
Keep exploring, keep asking, and let your agricultural vocabulary grow alongside your studies. See you in the next episode.